All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Science, Belovsky Science. It is Saturday evening. I had ball games last night, and I had to scurry out of the building, so I wasn't able to get the video in. So I'm going to make the video now. Hope you're having a good weekend. This will be the video of class what happened on class on the 18th of September in Belovsky science class. So we will be having a test next week, probably Wednesday or Thursday. So be thinking about that. Okay, when we left off the other day, we had just got through talking about how Alexis St. Martin got shot in the stomach. William Beaumont saved his life. He got shot in the abdomen, and he had a hole in his abdomen. And the hole in his abdomen, you could look through it and you could see into his stomach. And he survived the ordeal, but the hole in his stomach and the hole in his chest never did heal. So they did heal, but they didn't close. The tissues around it, were they just could not get it to cover itself back up. And so he lived a bad life. It was a rough life for him. And but we learned a lot about how the digestive system works by peering into his chest. And so the other day we talked about digestion. And here, let's get a marker up here. Okay, we talked about digestion, and we talked about that it's the process by which your body breaks down food into small nutrient molecules. Then we talked about mechanical digestion and how that is how your mouth is a machine, and it actually works on chewing up the food, and that is a simple machine. Your mouth is a lever. Your jaw is considered to be a lever, and so it helps you to chew up, break up food. Now, once you have the food broken up, you send it down into your stomach, and more chemical digestion takes place. Now, chemical digestion takes place in your mouth as well, because your saliva starts to break up the food. So it's got enzymes in it, which we're going to get to in just a second, which helps to break down the food. So we have got a ton of words to get to today. So let's get to them. And let me get rid of my picture because I don't like looking at myself. Oh, and before I do, though, I got the sweet tea right here. Got to have that sweet tea. All right, let's get into it. All right, first word of the day is absorption. I believe that this is number 4. Absorption, and your definition for absorption is this: process by which nutrient molecules pass through the wall of your digestive system into your blood. All right, hit pause. All right, you've got absorption typed in there. Absorption is basically how your small intestine and basically how your digestive system pulls the nutrients out of the food. So once it's digested in your stomach, then your stomach pushes it through to your small intestine, where the small intestine then starts stripping the nutrients. Now, if you don't remember nutrients are those things that we talked about that comes in food that we need, such as energy, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. So absorption is your intestines starting to pull those materials out. It's kind of like how a sponge soaks up or absorbs water off the counter if you spill water on the counter, or a paper towel, how it absorbs water if you've made a mess. So absorption is basically when your intestines start to pull out certain nutrients that are important for your body to exist on. All right, I just made a mess there, but we're not going to worry about it. We're going to move on. All right. And here this guy right here. This right here is your esophagus coming down, and here's where the food right. The esophagus goes behind your liver into your stomach right here, and right here is where your small intestine and stomach meet, and here are your small intestines, and this is where a lot of the absorption comes from, and a lot of absorption occurs with the large intestines too, but it does a lot of water absorption. So. All right, let's move on up here. All right, let's talk about some of the parts of the digestive system. One of them being the mouth, and your mouth is super important. It is an organ, and remember, people have looked at me all week when I was yesterday when I was talking about the mouth being an organ, and the mouth is an organ. Remember, an organ is different tissues that work together to do a job. Okay. Well, your mouth is made up of many different tissues. There's muscle tissue, nerve tissue, skin tissue, there's nervous tissue, and all of it works to do a job. And there's different jobs that go on in your mouth. Tasting, swallowing, breathing, production of saliva. There's just a lot of things that go on in the mouth. And so your mouth is an organ. All right. Um, so what all let's talk real quick about um, saliva. I just briefly mentioned saliva, and so saliva is defined right here. Saliva, and the definition for saliva is the fluid released when your mouth waters, plays an important role in both kinds of digestion. All right, hit pause now. All right, so everybody calls saliva spit. Okay, yeah, that's the slang term. Scientifically, though, it is your saliva. And the saliva is what helps your body to basically keep your mouth dry, and it helps you to keep your esophagus, which is the tube that takes the food down to your stomach, lubricated. If you did not have saliva in your mouth, you could not swallow food. It is impossible to swallow food that is dry without saliva or something wet in your mouth. Just imagine eating Cheez-Its and not having any saliva in your mouth and nothing to drink with them. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it with crackers. So it's that saliva also plays an important role because as you chew up the food, as your teeth break into the food, it starts injecting the saliva into the food, and your saliva has what's called enzymes in it. Okay, so what are enzymes? Okay, well, I'm going to do something I usually don't do. I'm going to skip forward a little bit, and we're going to come right here to where it says enzymes. And this will be the next word that you're going to find. Enzymes are proteins that speed up chemical reactions in the body. All right. Your enzymes in your spit help to speed up the digestion process. So, yes, when food is still in your mouth and when you are chewing it, as the saliva is mixed into the food with your tongue and with your teeth, it starts breaking down the food while it's still in your mouth. And you probably did not know that. All right, now let's go back a page. Now, I just mentioned the word teeth. All right, so let's change our color up here. All right, so your teeth have different names. And the first set of teeth that we're going to talk about are incisors. And what are incisors? Well, incisors cut the food into bite-sized pieces. All right, hit pause. All right, you're back now. Okay, where are incisors? Well, I'm going to scroll up a little bit here. And in this picture right here, these teeth at the top and these teeth at the bottom, these that I'm highlighting here with my mouse pad, these are your incisors. They are the ones that you dig into food. They're the ones that take the bite out of the pizza. They're the ones that take the bite out of the sandwich. They're the ones that you dig down into the apple and try to break a piece of the apple loose. So those are incisors. They are basically, their job is just to break food up into bite-sized, manageable pieces. All right. So what is another set of teeth that we have? Well, there are some teeth that are called canines, and the canines are located right there. Lots of people call them my vampire teeth. All right, well, call them what you want. They are your canines. And if you'll think, canines have really, really long, sharp fangs or canine teeth. All right. So what are their jobs? Well, the job of canines is to tear. These teeth tear and slash the food into smaller pieces. All right. So yeah, your pointy teeth, as you're chewing and moving food around in your mouth with your roof of your mouth, with your tongue, with your teeth, all of that's going on in your mouth. Your incisor or your canines tear and slash the food up. They're just another way to break the food down. All right. And the last set of teeth that they are going to mention here are the molars. All right. What are molars? Molars crush and grind food. And of course, your molars are way back here in the back. Way back here in the back. They're the teeth that are flat on the top, and they're the ones that you get cavities in most often because you don't brush the tops of them off really good, and food can get down in there and hide, and cavities can form. So molars are teeth that are in the back, and they are what you use basically to chew your food up really well. All right, so now we have covered the teeth and saliva and enzymes. All right, we're going to skip forward now, and we're going to leave the mouth, and we are going to go to the esophagus. Okay, and the esophagus is a tube that goes down into your stomach. So basically, in your throat right here, you've got two tubes. One of them is your wind tube, and another tube is your food tube. And your wind tube takes food down into your lungs. Your wind tube takes air to your lungs, and then your esophagus, which is the other tube, takes food down to your stomach. Now, if you've ever become choked or strangled on something, your spit went down the wrong way. Okay, well, you had something to go down into your windpipe, into your trachea. Okay, and it's scary. All right. So what all is down here in your throat? What is down here in this mechanism? Because I know you've gotten up in the mirror and with a flashlight, and you've looked down in there to see if you could see anything. Because when you swallow, and if you swallow right now, you can feel stuff moving around in there. Here, I'm going to swallow a little sweet tea here. Oh, yeah. I can feel something moving around in there. Well, what is that I feel moving around? Well, what you're feeling moving around is something that is called your epiglottis. And your epiglottis seals off your windpipe, preventing the food from entering. All right. Type that in real quick, and then I'll explain it to you. Hit pause now. Okay, so what is the epiglottis? Okay, well, we're going to pretend like my hand here is a flap of skin. And we're going to pretend like that this right here is your air tube. This is your trachea. When you swallow, your epiglottis is a piece of tissue that covers up your windpipe so that food doesn't go down in it. And then as soon as you're through with the swallow, it pops back up. Swallow, swallow, swallow. And on occasion, sometimes if you get something, you can fool your epiglottis, like when you're laughing and talking too much while eating. And if you do, then some food can get down into your windpipe before your epiglottis closes, and that's when you get choked or strangled. So when you're eating lunch, you really should not be doing a lot of talking and laughing, but I know that's human nature, but it makes it so that it's more easily for your epiglottis to get caught open, and it can lead to you getting something in your trachea. All right, so your epiglottis leads to your esophagus. All right, so what is the esophagus? The esophagus is a muscular tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. Okay, hit pause. All right, I've come back over here to where this dude is with his hand on his hip here, striking a pose. Here's your mouth, and right here is your esophagus. Your esophagus is what carries food down to your stomach. So I just wanted to show you that again real quick, even though we've just defined it. All right, went too far. All right, so basically your esophagus is your food tube. It is what carries food down after it leaves down through your throat area. If you've ever, I've mentioned this before, swallowed a chip without chewing it up real well, that scratching feeling that you feel all the way down, that would be your esophagus. That's the esophagus area. All right. And let's now talk about mucus. Oh, yeah. Let's get gross. Mucus. And yes, this is snot. Okay. For lack of a better word. And what does snot do? Okay. Well, it is a thick, slippery substance produced by the body that makes food easier to swallow and move along. All right, so you're constantly draining mucus down into your stomach from your esophagus. When you swallow, some mucus goes down from your sinuses. You swallow saliva down. But mucus is what helps to coat your esophagus, and it helps to make it so that the food gets pushed down easier. Okay, and you have a lining of mucus in your esophagus. Okay, and it's just a way to grease up your esophagus to make it so that food goes down easier. All right, so question. You see some children playing on a set of monkey bars somewhere, and one of the children is hanging upside down by their knees. Now, question. That child that is hanging upside down by their knees, could you give them grapes while they're upside down? Could they chew them up, and could they swallow them? In other words, if you're hanging upside down, can food go from your mouth to your stomach? It's a good question. Think about it for just a second. The answer to that question is yes, it can. Lots of people think that gravity has to pull food down into your stomach, but that is not true. If that was true, how would the astronauts eat in the space station where there is no gravity? What we have discovered is that our bodies have a process that is called peristalsis, which I'm marking for you here. All right. So, what is peristalsis? All right. Peristalsis, these involuntary waves of muscle, of contraction. Oh, wait a minute. I've messed up. Hang on. So don't type that. Let me erase this. I knew that looked funny as I was saying it. All right. So, what is peristalsis? Here is what I should have told you to put in. After food enters the esophagus, contractions of smooth muscles, remember smooth muscles? Those are the muscles that can work without getting tired. Contractions of smooth muscles push the food towards your stomach. All right, hit pause and we'll talk about it in a moment. All right, your esophagus has peristalsis going in. That is, it's got the esophagus, it pushes food down towards your stomach. And that's what peristalsis is. If you'll remember, we talked about smooth muscles. Smooth muscles don't get tired. They could digest food all day. Okay, well, that's what's going on with peristalsis. Peristalsis, as long as you're swallowing anything, whether it's a meal, whether it's a dessert, whether it's a cold drink, whether it's iced tea, peristalsis pushes it down towards where the stomach is. All right. And usually peristalsis only goes one way. Now, occasionally, peristalsis can reverse and it can go the other way. That's when you throw up. If you've ever seen a baby have spit up really bad and it comes shooting out, well, that's because peristalsis reversed and the stomach pumps some of the food up into the esophagus and the esophagus pushes it back out of the baby's mouth. All right. And that's part of, that explosive spit up that we've seen babies do before. All right. Let's go to the stomach. All right. So your next definition here is the stomach. And the stomach is a J-shaped muscular pouch located in the abdomen. And you might be wondering, okay, why J-shaped? Okay, well, let me get a picture here of the abdomen. And if you will use your imagination here, you might see the letter J there. Okay, well, that's why they call it the J-shaped food pouch, because it kind of does have the letter J if you use your imagination. So your stomach is a J-shaped muscular pouch located in the abdomen. And just remember, that's where, lots of the chemical digestion goes on and mechanical digestion goes on there as well. All right. Let's see here. Your stomach has mechanical digestion because your stomach is constantly churning. And as it churns, it mashes the food and it breaks it down and it makes it so that it's a little bit easier to move along. Now, of course, there's acids in your stomach. There's all kinds of chemicals that go on. But one of the things that helps to break down food is is something that is called pepsin. And write this down. Pepsin chemically digests proteins in your food. Hit pause and type that in. All right. Pepsin is just one of those. There's several different chemicals that's in your stomach that in your digestive system that helps to break down foods. We'll talk about some later on next week. But pepsin is just one of those that helps to break down proteins that you eat. And then there's also, if you look down here, hydrochloric acid. We already know what acid is. Acid is something that can eat something away. And people have been asking, hey, why doesn't that acid burn a hole through our stomachs? Why don't we have a hole burned in our stomach? Well, mucus coats your stomach. And believe it or not, mucus prevents acid from burning through. Acid cannot burn through mucus. Mucus has chemical properties that stop the way that acid breaks down materials. And so, snot is, even though it's disgusting and it is something that is gross, it saves our lives. It protects us. It protects us from our own digestive juices. So, um, and on this last page right here, it basically you've got the picture here of the stomach, and you can see how. And of course, when I try to move the cursor over it, you can't see it, but it shows peristalsis. It shows how the muscles wring the food down and through, and the upper part is the esophagus, and right here is the small intestine, the beginning of the small intestine. In fact, quite often when you feel discomfort in your stomach, it's in this area right here. And here, your stomach is one big muscle. So anyway, well, that's it. I'm done. Uh, uh, I'm going to load this video up now. You guys are going to be looking at it on Saturday, Sunday, for those of you that were in the traditional classes. And for you folks, Monday morning, the blended folks, you'll be watching this to get caught up with what went on in class on Friday. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.